What's good, squad? It's the big homie SB23 back at you with some more words of wisdom. Today we're going to talk about it's time to stop overthinking. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. SB23 on YouTube, Chosen123 on YouTube. Those are both my channels. You'll get these gems on both channels. I appreciate each and every one of y'all for coming out, soaking up the knowledge, spreading it to whoever might need it. I'm hoping that you're having a good day. I'm sending love out your way. So it's time to stop overthinking. We got to get out of our own heads in life. You know, it's a lot going on. A lot of things that you might be wanting to do. You might be in a job situation. You might want to get to a different one. You might be in a relationship. You might be thinking about whether you want to be with this person or find somebody new. You might be thinking about going back to school or finishing up school and trying to figure out what it is that you want to do after that. There's a lot of different scenarios in life that we think about, even mundane things like what we want to eat, where we want to go and enjoy some time. You know what I'm saying? Whether we should be resting more or working more or being more healthy, exercising more, spending more time with family and all that stuff. There's a bunch of stuff that we can ponder over and think about that'll overtake your mind and have you in a state of confusion. You don't want to be confused or not sure of the things that you want to do. So my advice is to get out of your own head. Sometimes it's better just to take action on something, and then if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You know what I'm saying? It all depends on your approach to the situation and what energy you're carrying behind it. So if you find yourself in a difficult situation, you don't know which way you want to go, the best bet is to go with what feels right in the scenario. You know what I mean? Something might feel better than a different situation, and go with whatever feels better, and don't overthink it. Just go with where the energy feels good, and then focus your energy on that. And then everything else will work itself out, because that's just the way it is. You can sit around and be in your head about things that you want to do and actions you want to take, but then that'll have you stagnant instead of just taking the action. You know what I mean? So, and I get it though, because there's a lot of options. Like nowadays with life, there's a lot of different options as to what we can do or what we would want to do. So it's hard to pick sometimes. Like even when you go out, as simple as something like trying to figure out what to eat. Now when you go out, there's so many different options. It's hard to figure out what it is that you want to eat. But again, sometimes you just got to go with what feels right. Or maybe you might need to do something that's out of the norm and go with that. You know what I'm saying? Instead of your normal everyday comfort zone of what you're used to. And that's the thing too. Sometimes you got to get out of your comfort zone and then go into doing something that's foreign to you. You know what I mean? And even if you only do it that one time and then you go back to what feels comfortable, at least you made a choice in real time and you didn't overthink it. You know what I'm saying? Because there's really no right or wrong. It's just, we get caught up in our own heads about a lot of different scenarios. You know what I'm saying? Eating, relationship. If you're in a relationship and you feel like it's not going well, sometimes you might need to take a break. Maybe you might need some time to yourself, or maybe that connection isn't right at that moment. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you do want to see what's different out there in the world, or maybe you want to it's not that you want to end the relationship, but you want it to be set on a different foundation. You know what I'm saying? So you go within, you figure out what it is that you want, and then you just take the action. So you don't overthink it too much. You know what I'm saying? Because again, you live one life. So at the end of the day, you want to do what feels right. You know what I'm saying? And make sure that you're taking into account what it is that you resonate with in life. And again, it's the same thing within like jobs. If you're at a job and you're not quite feeling it, and you've been kind of pondering over or debating whether you want to stick with this job or go to something new, Sometimes you just have to make a decision and take action, and then it'll work itself out as to whatever it is that it needs to be within those scenarios. So take some time. And yeah, within any of these scenarios, you're gonna think about it to some point. But when it comes to the point to where it's like overtaking your mind and you can't make a decision, that's when you know, okay, I got to just pick one thing and rock with it. And then if it doesn't work out the way I'm hoping it does, or if it doesn't pan out the way that I want it to, then you pivot from that scenario into another scenario, and then you'll figure it out as it goes. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes you gotta get out of your own head and just take action with anything in life. If you're on a health journey, you want to be healthier, and you might not know which route to take, whether it's dieting or exercising or yoga or whatever it is that you might feel like it is that resonates with you. Sometimes you just gotta say, you know what, I'm just gonna pick this thing and just go with it. And then if that doesn't work, then you can always switch that scenario. You're not stuck within the option that you picked. But since you picked an option and now you're taking the steps toward it, it makes it easier to move through life instead of being stuck. Because when you're stuck between decisions, that'll have you in a stagnant space, and you don't want to be in a stagnant space. So it's better off that you just make a decision. Yes, think about it, but then after a while, when you're doing too much thinking, now you just need to make a decision and rock with it, and stick with that decision until it either feels right to you, or if it doesn't feel right, then now you know, okay, that wasn't the decision for me, and now you got an opportunity to cross that decision off the board and move on to a different one until you find the one that does feel right for you or does fit right for you. But if you never make a decision at all, then you're just going to be stuck in life in one spot. And then time might pass and you will be wondering what could have been had you just taken the action that you needed to take, is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? So that's just what it's about. It's just about not being so indecisive with things. Yes, you don't want to just be super impulsive and only operate from like an opportunist type of mindset, but you also don't want to be so cautious that you overthink a good scenario. You know what I'm saying? And that's another thing too. You can actually be in a good scenario and overthink it. You can overthink yourself out of a good scenario that you had and wind yourself up in a scenario that was worse because you overthought the good scenario that you were in. So that's another thing too. Like if you got a good thing rolling, don't overthink it. Don't overcomplicate the good scenario. You know what I'm saying? Like when life is handing you good scenario after good scenario, don't overthink it and talk yourself out of it, you know, or allow other people to get in your head and talk you out of it. You got to understand where you're at, how you're feeling, look at your situation and really break it down as to see how it is actually benefiting you in that scenario. And if it is benefiting you in positive ways, then you keep that scenario rolling. Don't talk yourself or think yourself out of that scenario because you make up a situation that you think might happen down the road that really was never gonna happen, or you make it to where when you do make a choice, you can't revert yourself out of it. You know what I mean? You want to be free and open to make a decision in real time that's for your best benefit. And be able to do that, you have to really be honest with yourself and say, okay, this is working for me and this is not. So okay, I might have to eliminate this, but I want to keep this. You know what I'm saying? But you got to be able to be honest about where you're at. And that takes you not having too much ego and too much pride. You know what I'm saying? So it's simple. You know, when you come out of your head and you just look at things for what they are instead of what you're maybe making them to be in your mind, and you don't overthink it, things are pretty simple. And you'll be able to navigate situations better. So again, even down to the simple stuff. When you go into the restaurant, either you're gonna go with something that you regularly go with, or you're gonna pick something different, and don't make it too big of a deal. You know, if you have been having something that you normally have, you know, consistently, maybe that next time when you go in, just tell yourself like, yo, all right, I'm about to try something different this time, and then just go with something different. And again, if you're in a relationship and it's going the way that you would like it to, don't overthink the scenario and start looking at stuff, start, you know, nitpicking the few things that you might see that you don't like, and then make that the overall scheme of the whole relationship. Don't do that. You know, if you have a way that you're feeling about something, bring it to the table, but don't, you know, write that person off as just completely not right for you because there's only one or two things that aren't going maybe the way that you would like them to go, when there's 10 other things that are going the way that you would like them to go, you know. And again, as long as those things aren't like crazy, then yeah. But if it's like minimal stuff that is like you can get over it, then that's fine, you know. Don't sabotage your own blessings for, you know, by overthinking. You know what I'm saying? And the same thing on the latter end. If you know that the situation you're in isn't good and that it's not fulfilling you, then don't overthink breaking that thing up and starting over. Because if you stay in it, you're only going to feel some type of way throughout the scenario. But if you do take the time to say, you know what, I got to do this for me and move on, then you'll find yourself in a better scenario, and you'll be feeling better about it. You know what I'm saying? And it's the same thing with the job. You know what I mean? Same principle. It's just don't overthink any situation, because 9 times out of 10, unless it's something like really crazy going on, your decision really ain't that as it's not as serious as it seems in real time. But because it is in real time and it's your decision, and you maybe in your mind you feel like this is like you got to make this decision and you don't know what to do, so it puts some pressure on you. But really, if you sit back, you realize that it's really not that much pressure at all. And if you take a little bit of time to just take away the revolving thoughts that you're having around that decision and just take action, things will go smoothly, and you won't have as much resistance when it comes to the energy flow. You know what I mean? So that's just some words of wisdom from me. Don't overthink this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Life is pretty fun and easy going when you just let it flow and start to notice the way that the energy's flowing. It's not hard to make a decision, because the energy will flow you in the right direction if you just go with it instead of, you know, going against the current. You know what I mean? So that's all. That's just some words of wisdom from me. I'm hoping that'll help you out there. Get out of your head, move through life the way that you need to, you know what I mean? And get some sleep too. Because hey, look at, that's another thing that'll have you in your head. Like when you're not rested, that'll have you making decisions that are not suitable for you. And and I understand that, as you know, us being adults, we got a lot of stuff on our plate. So oftentimes we're running on maybe not that much sleep. But that doesn't mean that we can't be aware of that and maybe put that, whatever we're thinking in those times of being tired, maybe we need to put that thought on the back burner until we do get some sleep. That's why they say I'm gonna sleep on it, because you need to get some rest. And when you come rested, then you'll make a better decision, and you won't be so indecisive because your mind will be clear. I notice with myself that when I'm tired, it's harder to let the energy flow naturally. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's this block. So I try not to make, you know, big decisions or certain decisions when I know I'm tired, because I can feel I'm off a little bit. You know what I mean? So that's another gem right there too. Try not to make decisions when you're low on rest, because that'll have you definitely being indecisive and definitely making decisions from not a good standpoint. You know what I mean? So Don't be too indecisive. Sleep on it, get some rest, and then make a decision. And then when you make a decision, just take action. And again, if it doesn't pan out the way you want to, then just revert from that action and go into a different lane until you do figure out the way that you want to move within your scenarios. You know what I mean? Because again, it's not that serious at the end of the day. Even when it's something that does seem serious, 9 times out of 10, it's something that you can, even if you do make a decision, it's some way that you can work it out to where you can revert that decision and move in a different light. You know what I mean? And that's just from my own experience, is what I'll say. You know, everybody else's, you have your own situations, everything's different. But for the most part, in general in life, most decisions aren't make it or break it type things. Most decisions, you can make a decision, and then if it's not seemingly feeling like it's going to work out, you can switch that decision up for the most part. But all right, y'all, it's the big homie. I'ma holla.